Running a small business is very different to having a job. When you have a job, you go to work, somebody pays you a set amount of money, and then you organize that money. And they take care of things like taxes and your retirement plan and super and stuff like that. When you move from having a job to having a business, there is a lot you need to learn about managing your money. Today I want to share a couple of tips for things that I have done and I think you should consider doing when it comes to managing your money as a small business owner. Now, disclaimer, I am not a financial professional. This is not professional financial advice. This is just one business owner sharing what has worked for her with other business owners and a little bit of common sense advice around all things financial. Taxes, retirement savings, these are all going to be different depending on what country you're in. Here in Australia, we have a certain tax system. We have superannuation, which is something that doesn't exist in other countries. It's basically a government mandated retirement fund scheme that if you're employed by someone, your employer has to, by law, pay into this retirement fund for you. But when you're self-employed, it comes down to you to do this for yourself. Now, I'm going to be doing a much longer, more in-depth workshop on this for my members inside the Thrivers Circle in 2024. So if that's something that you would like to be part of, come on over and join the Thrivers Circle. More details are below. Inside the circle, we have live calls, workshops, and chats. There are over 40 video workshops there right now on demand, ready for you to learn how to take your handmade hobby and turn it into a thriving and profitable business. But let's just address a couple of key points in today's video. Number one, I strongly recommend that you, from the beginning, separate your personal and your business finances. This way, you don't get confused about what money is what and who it belongs to. You have your business finances in one place, and you have your personal finances in another place. This makes life so much easier. And this doesn't mean you have to get a business bank account. I literally just have bank accounts with two separate banks. And my personal finances are in one bank, my business money is in another bank, and then I know in my business bank, everything coming in and going out of that account is to do with the business. And same with the personal, everything going in and out of that is personal. So it doesn't get confusing when it comes to bookkeeping, tax time. I know what money is what. And it's also really obvious what I have paid myself because I see it coming out of the business bank account into my personal bank account. And therefore I know how much money I am actually earning personally out of the business. Now again, how this is all organized is going to depend somewhat on your country, the laws in your country, also your business structure. So for example, I'm a sole trader, what we call a sole trader here in Australia. And that means that for tax purposes, I am everything. I don't have a separate business entity like people who have a company do, for example, or a trust. When you have a company or a trust, there are all sorts of other laws and tax rules and stuff that go along with that. And so that will mandate how you organize your money to a certain extent. And that brings me to step number 2, and that is you need to save to pay your taxes. When you have a job, at least in Australia, your taxes are taken out of your wage before you even see the money. It's taken out by your employer and paid to the government. When you have your own business, you are responsible for saving the money to pay your taxes. So this is incredibly important, and I think a lot of people forget to do this, especially in the beginning, and then tax time rolls around, you've got to pay your taxes, you don't have the money saved. So it's really, really important that you save the money to pay your taxes. And along with this, you have to save the money to pay your retirement fund. Again, here in Australia with superannuation, if you have a job, your employer is paying into your superannuation account before you even see the money. But when you're self-employed, it is up to you to either pay into your own superannuation account or to pay into some other sort of retirement fund, whether it's a bank account or some sort of managed fund that you are putting your money into for retirement. You have to think about these things now. No matter how much or little you're earning, you need to make sure you're putting away this sort of money for the long term, because if you don't do it, nobody's doing it for you. Just as an aside, if you are interested in more detail about how I organize my bank accounts, how I pay myself and all that sort of jazz, I've actually done another video on that. I'll put a link to that up here so you can go check that out after this one. I outline exactly how I manage my money as a self-employed creative. Okay, the next thing is to do your bookkeeping regularly. This is a huge mistake I see so many people making, is not doing regular bookkeeping, not keeping on top of your numbers. If you are in business, you need to be doing this at minimum every month, like absolute minimum. You need to be doing this monthly. I would prefer it if my students did it more often, like fortnightly. That's every 2 weeks for those of you outside of Australia, or even weekly, or even every single time something comes in or goes out. Like if you have bookkeeping software, I use Xero software. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, and I've used that for many, many years. But even if you don't use software, you will have a spreadsheet, and you can use the spreadsheet and keep that updated. So if you're doing it manually, it's even more important you keep up with it regularly, because if you don't, then it becomes a huge hassle and headache, and it's something that almost nobody who's a creative business owner enjoys doing, but it's incredibly important, because if you don't know what your money is doing, you don't know how your business is doing, and you can't make intelligent decisions about where to spend your money, how much money you're making, how much money you need to put aside for things like taxes and retirement and just paying your bills, for example. So it's really, really important that you do your bookkeeping regularly and keep on top of it. I have a whole workshop showing you how to do this inside the Thriver Circle. If that's something you need to get on top of, this workshop will definitely help you. You can get access to that on demand straight away after becoming a member of the circle, which you can do over at thrivercircle.com. Now, there are so many more tips, but I'm going to leave you with just one more, and that is this. Seek professional advice if you need to. It is well worth the expense of seeing a business manager / accountant, even just once, to get a handle on what is happening with your money and what is happening with your finances and how to best organize everything. I remember a couple of years into running my jewelry business, Ethereal, I looked up and found a business accountant, and I went and had a meeting with him, and I sat down, talked through my business structure, what my business is doing, what the incomes and outgoings were, and he helped me to kind of clarify, decide, yes, this is the best business structure for you right now. Talk about how I can minimize my taxes by, the sort of expenses and how I was organizing things. It really does pay to see a professional at least once in a while to get their expertise on how you can best manage your money so that you are paying the least tax possible and also not wasting money on things that aren't necessary. Yes, it might seem like a big expense, but hopefully you can find someone who's affordable and who's an expert. Make sure to look for someone who's an expert in small business. Even better, someone who's an expert in like whatever your particular business is. Those people are out there, and it's worth doing the work to find the right person who will understand what you are trying to achieve with your business and will be able to help you to get your money situation sorted. If you have any advice or stories about managing your money as a small business owner, leave them in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this one, and don't forget to subscribe for future videos on how to have a thriving and profitable handmade business. I'm going to leave you with that video I mentioned earlier about how I manage my money as a self-employed creative. So check that one out next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.